This is part 2 of 4 of plotting quadratics. So, last time we said that this was the order that you should plot your graph in. Number 1, work out if it's a happy or a sad graph. It's this, the turning point of the graph, the lowest point for the happy face, or the highest point for the unhappy face. Number 3, when the graph intercepts the y-axis, which is the graph, and it will eventually intercept because they're infinitely wide, then they will eventually intercept the y-axis. Number 4, finding the roots of the graph. This is when the graph crosses the x-axis. So, last time we worked out the graph of the equation x squared plus 6x plus 8. This time we're going to be working out the graph for the equation x squared plus x minus 10. Got to write in the x. Yep. So, first things first. Step 1. We have to work out whether or not it's a happy or a sad graph. Do this same as last time, whether or not there's a positive or a negative in front of the x. Since there's a 1 there, just don't write it in, means it's a positive, so it is a happy graph. Now, step 2, we have to work out the turning point, which for us, happy face, so it is the lowest point. We do this by completing the square. The way we complete the square is by going like this. We write in y equals. Now, if there was anything else here but a positive 1, then we would have to do extra steps, but since there isn't, then we're just going to go with the same as last time. So, bracket x. Always like that. Now, plus, since there's a plus there, and then since there's actually a 1 there, we just write in 0.5. Square it all, and there we are. So, since we've halved this, we basically have to double it to see if we've still got the same as up there. So, well, double x isn't x squared, but it's going to come out as x squared. But then we halved the 0.5, so we have to double that to get to 1, and then square x to get to that. But 0.5 squared is not 1, so that means we need to work out what 0.5 squared is. Okay, so here on 0.5 squared equals 1 over 4, or 0.25, which is the same as 5 times 5, just put down to the zeros place. So now we would write in minus 0.25 to even this all back out, but there is a minus 10, so it is minus 10.25. There we go, we have completed the square. And the way we turn this into the turning point is we make this bracket equal to 0, so that means that x would have to equal minus 0.5 to make this bracket equal to 0. That means y would equal, well, 0 squared is 0, take away 10.25, so that would mean that y would be equal to negative 10.25, and then that means these are the coordinates for this turning point here. 0.5, did that well wrong, and then negative 10.25. This is obviously not to scale, but yeah, that is the turning point. Now, step 3 is working out how high up is the y-axis intercept by the graph. Now, it will always intersect the y-axis because last time I said these are infinitely large, so they will eventually hit the y-axis. We just need to work out how high up it is because this whole thing runs along x equals 0, so we don't need to work that out, we just know it's 0. So we just need to work out the y-axis. The way we do this, since this represents x as in actually x on our graph, and this represents y, all we need to do is say that x is 0, which it is, and then you can work out that from this. So x plus 0.5, and since x is 0, this is just 0.5 squared. Oh, I'm doing this again. 0.5 squared. Wow, it's the same as last time. 0.25, take away 10.25, so answer, take away 10.25, negative 10, so that means here, the y-intercept is at y equals negative 10. So that means this point up there where they meet is y equals negative 10. Even though it looks like it's high up, that means the axis is just even higher. So that is step 3 done. We've got the turning point, the intercept, and well, step 1 is just whether or not it's a happy or a sad. Now, for step 4, which is we have to work out where the roots are, well, if it has any and what they are. So the roots are, like I said last time, it's where they intercept here and here. This is the graph, and then this is the x-axis. Or y. One that runs horizontally. So, what we have to do to work this out is, well, there's 2 ways. First one is quadratic formula, which is the minus b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Or you factorize it, which we'll see if we can do in a second. Although factorizing only works, basically the way you work out if it can be factorized, something that like adds up to 1, or has a difference of 1, that times to negative 10, and there aren't any because that doesn't work. So that means we know that it has to be quadratic formula. Now, the way you use a quadratic formula is you see all these numbers, these letters I meant, in here, we have to give them all values. So in your equation here, then you've got 3 numbers, but 2 of mine are 1s, so they're not written in. That means A along with B, they both equal 1, but C equals negative 10 because that's the 3rd number. So let's just write this again, except replacing all of these there. So minus 1 plus minus square root of 1 squared, take away 4 times 1 times negative 10 over 2 times 1. Now, you can do this again, except simplifying it. So negative 1 plus minus square root of 1. Also, since there are 2 takeaways here, we just basically get rid of that one and put it there. Makes it easier. So 1 plus 4 times 1, 4, and then times 10 is 40. So 1 plus 40 over 2. Now we're going to need the square root of 41 here, because 40 plus 1 is 41. So square root of 41. Oops. Thank you. Very useful. Well, that's, we'll just round it to 1 decimal place. So, we'll do it last. That'll make it easier. -1 plus minus square root of 41 divided by 2. Well, guess we'll put it in. 6.4 -1 plus minus 6.4 over 2. Well, now we can divide this. So -1 plus 6.4 divided by 2. So this is 5.4 divided by 2, which would be 2.7. 2.7. And then the second one, -1 minus 6.4 over 2 is, well, -1 minus 6.4 is -7.4, and then -7.4 divided by 2 is -3.7. There we go, those are the two roots. These are both on the x-axis because y equals 0. So the two roots we've got will be something like this. This is the y-axis, and that's the x-axis. So that means this is the intersection point, and then these are the roots.